The Fire Beneath the Mountain. The Valley of Scars was aptly named. Deep in Albion's southern range, the mountains rose like jagged teeth, their blackened peaks veined with rivers of molten fire. Legend spoke of an ancient wyrm, Igneorath, slumbering beneath the largest peak, Mount Wrathspire. The villagers whispered that the dragon's breath still stirred, fueling the volcanic flows that scarred the valley. Few dared approach the mountain, for it was said that the wyrm's fire did not merely burn flesh, it consumed the soul. Eadric of Blackmere stood at the mountain's base, staring up at the looming peak. His armor was streaked with soot, his face grim. He had come not for the dragon, but for the truth buried beneath its lair. The fire beneath the mountain, he murmured to himself. What lies within may destroy me, or save me. He tightened his grip on vigilance and began the climb. The path up Wrathspire was treacherous. Rivers of molten lava crisscrossed the rocky terrain, forcing Eadric to leap from stone to stone. The air grew hotter with every step, thick with ash that clung to his skin and stung his eyes. Yet the heat was not what unsettled him most. Voices whispered in the wind, faint but insistent. They spoke his name, urging him to turn back, to abandon his quest. Eadric, they hissed, you are not strong enough. You will fail. He shook his head, pressing on. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, until they became a roar. At last, Eadric reached the entrance to the dragon's lair. The cavern yawned before him, its walls glowing with an otherworldly light. Rivers of molten rock coursed through the chamber, and the air shimmered with heat. In the center of the cavern lay Igneorath. The wyrm's body was coiled like a serpent, its scales black as obsidian, its eyes closed in slumber. But even in sleep, its presence was overwhelming. The air pulsed with the dragon's breath, each exhalation filling the chamber with a suffocating heat. Eadric stepped forward, his boots crunching on the charred ground. He knew he could not fight this creature, not with steel alone. He had come seeking the Heartfire, an ancient flame said to reside within Igneorath's chest. The legends claimed that the Heartfire could grant unparalleled strength, but only to those willing to face their deepest truths. The wyrm's eyes snapped open, twin orbs of molten gold that bore into Eadric's soul. Another fool comes to claim my fire, Igneorath rumbled, its voice shaking the cavern. Do you know what you ask, Slayer? Eadric stood firm. I seek the strength to face the dragons within and without. Igneorath laughed, a sound like an earthquake. The Heartfire is not strength, it is truth. To claim it, you must endure the fire and confront what lies within you. Do you dare? Eadric hesitated, his hand tightening on his sword. But he nodded. I dare. The dragon's eyes glowed brighter, and the chamber was consumed in flame. Eadric felt the heat engulf him, but it did not burn his flesh. Instead, it burned through his mind, peeling back the layers of his soul. He saw himself as a boy, weak and afraid, watching helplessly as raiders tore through his village. He saw himself as a young knight, paralyzed by fear during his first battle, unable to save those who depended on him. He saw himself as he was now, scarred, weary, and filled with doubt. Do you see, Slayer? Igneorath's voice echoed. Your strength is a lie, built on a foundation of failure. You fight not to save Albion, but to prove yourself. You fight because you are afraid. The flames grew hotter, and Eadric dropped to his knees, his body trembling. The dragon's words cut deep because they were true. He had spent his life running from his fears, hiding behind the blade. But then he remembered the lessons of the Sigil Knights. A slayer does not fight because he is fearless. He fights because he has the courage to stand, even when fear grips his heart. Eadric rose to his feet, his gaze meeting the dragon's. You're right, he said. I'm afraid. I've failed more times than I can count. But fear is not my master, and failure is not the end. I fight because I must, because even broken men can make a difference. The flames roared, and for a moment Eadric thought they would consume him. But then, the heat receded, and the cavern fell silent. Igneorath watched him, its molten eyes narrowing. You have faced the fire and spoken the truth. Few have dared, and fewer still have survived. The dragon lowered its head, revealing a glowing ember nestled in its chest. Take the Heartfire, Slayer, but know this: the truth you have embraced will burn within you forever. Eadric stepped forward, his hand trembling as he reached for the ember. The moment his fingers closed around it, a surge of heat flooded his body. The Heartfire burned, not with pain, but with clarity. He felt his doubts, his fears, his failures, all of it laid bare. But instead of breaking him, it strengthened him. The cavern began to tremble, the walls cracking as lava surged higher. Igneorath let out a deafening roar. Go now, before the mountain consumes us both. Eadric turned and ran, the Heartfire glowing in his palm. The path down the mountain was a blur, the heat and ash swallowing everything behind him. When he finally reached the valley, the mountain erupted, fire and smoke spewing into the sky. As the sun rose over the Valley of Scars, Eadric stood alone, the Heartfire still pulsing faintly in his hand. He felt different, stronger, yes, but also lighter. The fire had burned away the weight of his doubts, leaving only purpose. He turned toward the horizon where another dragon awaited. The Heartfire would guide him, not as a weapon, but as a reminder of who he was and what he fought for. In the ruins of Wrathspire, Igneorath's voice lingered, a faint echo carried on the wind. He carries the fire now. Let us see if it burns bright enough to pierce the shadows. And so the Slayer walked on, his path illuminated by the fire within.